Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. The next item number 4 is delegations. I believe we have one delegation this evening. I assume they're online. Sorry, we have Katrina Matheson from the Toronto Schools Caregiver Coalition. Katrina, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you very much. So,
okay, great.
You've been here before. You have 5 minutes to speak, and then trustees can ask questions of clarification. So go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I would like to begin by thanking the trustees for passing the motion last month to accelerate the budgeting process. On behalf of the Toronto Schools Caregiver Coalition, we are pleased with this development, which is a small but important step to securing some additional leverage in negotiations with the province come June. We congratulate you on being the first board, as far as we know, to take this step. We are continuing to work behind the scenes to organize the trustees from other school boards to inspire them to follow your lead. It is our hope that every district could present to the province a budget that encompasses exactly what is needed to support its students. Although we parents and caregivers know that our big fight is with the provincial government, we look to our trustees to stand up on behalf of our students. And that means being honest and clear about the challenges they face. This brings me to our second topic of the multi-year strategic plan renewal. As you have heard during past delegations to this committee, our students face facilities in disrepair, chronic anti-Black racism and bullying, grossly overcrowded campuses, inadequate course materials, a lack of supply teachers, the loss of vital support staff, and more. In light of these issues, we find the expiring MYSP to be a gravely missed opportunity. It seems that what the MYSP has been in the past is simply a glossy brochure filled with intangible goals, ultimately giving rise to some limited impact pilot programs without actually improving the quality of our children's education overall. What we want from the next MYSP is a realistic snapshot of the failing aspects of our school and a year-by-year plan to measurably improve conditions. Given that this is the Budget and Finance Committee, we would also like to express our specific concern with pillar number 4, which prioritizes the strategic allocation of resources. While we appreciate that there is always some degree of strategy involved in budgeting, we do not accept this concept being used as cover to gut everything good about our schools. Adopted as a pillar, so-called strategic budgeting conditions TDSB students and families to accept cruel budget cuts justified by false conditions of scarcity arbitrarily imposed by the province. Strategic budgeting is typically cloaked in social justice language, for example, by prioritizing schools with a high LOI. Students from disadvantaged backgrounds may have more complex needs than other populations, and let me be clear, those needs should be met. But what strategic budgeting does is not that. As a statistical average, the LOI calculation erases the needs of students facing external challenges who happen to attend a school with a socioeconomically mixed population. It is also not even clear that any such strategically allocated resources are sufficiently reaching disadvantaged student populations at all, as reflected in the delegation to this committee by students from C.W. Jeffries last June. Hearing how abysmal things are at Jeffries makes us question if anyone at all is benefiting from strategic budgeting. Furthermore, in this time of high inflation, many middle-class families also struggle to access private resources and services, and their children also deserve to have their needs met at school. But the most insidious damage that strategic budgeting causes is the way it serves to drive affluent families out of the TDSB. With fewer students enrolled, less money comes in from the province. It's a self-perpetuating cycle designed to crush public education. Accordingly, we reject pillar number 4 in favor of one foundational pillar, the pillar of adequate funding for every school based on an assessment of the needs of each student population. Given the changes you have made to the budgeting process, we are already optimistic that this will be the year that we center student needs. Let's go all the way. Our proposed singular pillar and reimagining of the MYSP addresses the underlying issue head-on. Adopting a new MYSP that quantifies the hard realities about the poor conditions our students face due to a long-term lack of funding is critical to making a case to the province and the public that our schools and students simply need more. Thank you for your time and attention, and this is co-signed by Joella Connett of Scarborough Village, Ward 19, Sandra Huh from Earl Beatty, Ward 16, Alejandra Gonzalez Jimenez, Dover Court, Ward 9, Katrina Matheson, Rosedale Heights and Regal Road, Wards 10 and 9 and 10, and Miranda Ang from Linwood Heights, Ward 20. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a question from Trustee Laskin.
Thank you very much, Katrina, for your passionate advocacy. It's sincerely appreciated. I have a favor. You talked about the board and its finances. We have a document, Financial Facts, with revenue and expenditure trends, where we talk about our gaps in funding. I've wondered if your group has reviewed that.
From when is that? You're talking about the one from last year, or is there one from this year?
Well, the one that's currently on the public website is based upon last year's budget process. Leading up to this year's budget process, we do it every year, and we'd be most interested in your feedback of what we can do better in that, in articulating our issues and our positions.
So what we're primarily advocating for, look, you know, as you know, we are aligned in our desire to have a better position in negotiating with the province, right? I mean, like, our interests are aligned there, I believe. And we simply, what we feel that we are lacking right now is the transparency of saying, you know, there are actually real problems in our schools. You know, the strategic plan is, you know, what it's been in the past is, you know, promotional. In my opinion, it's promotional. And that doesn't serve our students. It's not a realistic plan or pathway. What we're hoping to find is more evidence that can be presented to the province, that can be presented to the public, that can be presented to parents to say, look, these are tangible needs at our schools. These are tangible things that we are lacking. We're lacking proper ventilation. We're lacking air conditioning. We're lacking after school resources. We're lacking materials, textbooks, you know, even licenses for the online tutorials. All these things that we're missing, those need to be identified and quantified, and the public needs to have the opportunity to understand what is lacking in our schools. And when the strategic plan is simply this, you know, promotional thing about how you're going to transform education in this, like, you know, very lofty way, it's like there's a disconnect. It doesn't make any sense. So if you're inviting us to come work with you on budgeting, we're happy to do that. But what we're looking for here is a conceptual change, and a change to say, look, there's problems, and we have to like be really open and honest about what the problems are. And that's the only way that we're going to get attention from the public, you know, from the province. And you know, maybe I'm being idealistic, but I don't. The feeling that parents have right now is that we're being gaslit. We look at this document, this MYSP, and it says we're going to transform education. I don't even know what that means. You know, when you host, you know, pilot programs to teach, you know, 50 teachers, you know, how to teach coding, but then my daughter's school has computers from 1998. It doesn't make any sense. So we need to bridge that gap here. And
thank you.
I think if we start by being honest, that's the first step.
Okay, thank you. That time's up for Trustee Laskin's questions. Is there anyone else with questions for the delegate? No, not online. Thank you, Katrina. Can I clarify, did you send your delegation as a written copy as well? So it goes to all trustees?
I haven't yet, but I'll do so right now.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.